Hey, what's up, guys? Daz here with Petzergling, and this is the third game between Hwasin and Luxury. This is their MSL series, best of 3. It's all come down to this, whoever's going to advance. It's been a really good series so far, actually. Maybe not so surprisingly, the best series in my opinion of the ones we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Both games have been awesome.
Game too.
Yeah, and not only did he win game 2, but in what a way did he win it. Like, it wasn't just that he won, but how he won it. I mean, just showing almost perfect play. I mean, from like this 8-minute mark on, Hwasin basically played a perfect game, which is not something you see too often in StarCraft.
That was
like,
it was flawless. SK Terran execution.
Yeah, I mean, everything he did, like, his control was perfect, his timings on when to go for the attacks was perfect, his expansion, I mean, like, he, not only that, but he was also like perfectly ready for a counter attack. I mean, just all these little things that added up, and he played awesome. And that's why I love watching this guy play. I mean, he's a TVZ master, and it has. Okay, we're gonna pause to sync it here. 2, 1, 0. He's a TVZ master, and just seeing the way he played that game, I don't want to count Luxury out, but like, just seeing the way he played and the momentum he's carrying, I think Hwasin's probably going to take this game. But, you know, Luxury, I don't want to count him out. He's a player who's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He's definitely not someone who's just going to, you know, just play standard and straight up and play into Hwasin's hand. He's going to come up with something and give Hwasin a fight. And I'm just really looking forward to see it.
Yeah, I think Hwasin's best bet would either to... I think Hwasin should build 2 barracks in the middle of the map, and I think Luxury should 9 pool, and they should both just kill each other. I mean, that's pretty much what both of the outcomes of the last 2 games. I really hope this turns out to be a really exciting game. I mean, the first game was just an epic game. Like, a lot of the times when you see 50-minute games, I mean, they just like drag on, one player always wins.
Oh, it was, you
know, it's a huge advantage, but it was just like back and forth, crazy, you know, picking off. Like, it was never like build up and attack. Like, it was just like always attack, 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 always. And that's what's so good about Hwasin, is he plays so aggressively but yet so safe, and Luxury's control is just so good. You know, I wouldn't say that Luxury was one of the top Zerg macro players, but his control definitely makes up for, you know, his weaker late game. And Hwasin, you know, while I would say Hwasin's late game is a lot better, his control is definitely there too, and I think Hwasin, the longer the game drags on, the better off Hwasin is. So if he can bring it out to a 3-base versus 4 or 5-base macro game, he's in a really good position. But, you know, it's going to be... please don't 14cc. If he 14cc's against him... Well, at least Luxury didn't 9 pool.
Here.
Yeah,
it's not going to be game over here. Okay, Luxury...
Oh, so actually it would be a good decision if Hwasin goes for the early CC. And,
I think he's going to. I mean, if the 12 hatches out already, then chances are.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it's a
that was a really late barracks. Now, that's a really strange opening. You see it sometime. You go for an early barracks. It's sort of like an early CC, except it's better off at handling the first 6 initial Zerglings. And what he's going to do is he's going to take his barracks down on 13, and then he's going to put his command center down on 15. At least that's what I'm imagining he's doing, because he hasn't taken his gas yet.
It looks like it.
And so he's going to take his command center. And so, you know, this is just a little bit of a safer opening and lets him get maybe 1 extra Marine out. And that's just the kind of player Hwasin is. Where a normal Terran versus Zerg player in this situation probably would have 14cc'd and it would have been a better decision. Hwasin still plays it safe but goes for the econ build. So, you know, although both players going for really similar builds, and actually Luxury putting down the gas, so he's going to go for a 2 hatchery build, which... As we both said in the first game, I think it's definitely a better decision for him to go for a 2-hatch build, and it's really going to be up to him what he decides to do. I mean, he could go for early Zergling speed before lair if he gets the scout down early and try and go for an all-in ling. I mean, that would definitely be effective. Or also he could go for a 2-hatch muta or a 2-hatch lurker, but I have to imagine it'd be difficult to execute a 2-hatch muta on this map simply because you can't really hide it. And you can't harass the main base whatsoever. I mean, you're pretty much confined to the natural, and if Hwasin just lifts off a building or gets an early scanner or something, he's going to be able to handle it. And not only that, but Hwasin scouts the early gas, so he knows that Luxury's up to, you know, not cheese, but he's definitely up to something. And the lair's morphing, so Hwasin, it's going to be up to him what he decides to do. And putting down the second barracks before refinery, once again, very safe standard build from Hwasin. And a little bit late on the SCV transfer, kind of surprising there, but I think he's really trying to soak in and take as much information and really decide on the proper counter to what Luxury's early aggression, what he's going to do to handle it.
Yeah, I know. I also. Oh wow, he's actually going for a Hydroden.
Oh
so
wow,
it looks like he's gonna go
we
for
did not see this a lot.
Lurker. Yeah, it's a really strange choice. I mean, to tell you the truth, I really have no idea how this is gonna work. You just see it so rarely. It's just something I'm not used to seeing. Most of my TVZ knowledge is from way back in the day. I mean, what can you do with a 2-hatch Lurker against a 1-rack FE kind of build?
The thing about 2-hatch Lurkers, it's tough. Like, most of the time you don't know what's coming. And I mean, put yourself in Hwasin's shoes at this point. I mean, for the most part, the way you scout against an early Lurker is you see the Hydroden going down, because you have to put it down in the mid area of the lair, but he didn't get his SCV out to see that Hydroden, so because he didn't see anything until lair, he has to assume that Luxury's going to go for a Spire, and actually Zergling speed is out now, so this may be an indicator of Lurker opening, because you normally don't need Zergling speed this early, and he's going to get some Lurkers out, and a 2-hatch Lurker build, if he goes for this many Zerglings, it's going to be an offensive all-in. I mean, you can't go for 2-hatch Lurkers and then defend. You take 2 gases, but if you go for this many Zerglings, he's definitely going to go for an attack. And actually, an interesting mechanic of this map, we've seen, actually, Luxury going in here trying to pick off some SCVs. Brilliant control, though, from Hwasin. Look at Hwasin. He's playing so good, keeping all of his Marines constantly by his ramp, willing to sacrifice Econ with his Marines. But anyway, do you see how there's those side entrances, and he may use those for Lurkers, and it's going to be difficult for Hwasin to get a containment up on Luxury to contain the Lurkers. He's going to push out now and try and get as much ground as possible, make sure Luxury makes Sunkens if he needs to, but the reality is not only can Luxury have those 2 Hydras on top that morph into Lurkers, but he has those 2 Lurkers, so he's going to be coming from a lot of different sides. So this actually may be tough for Hwasin if he doesn't do significant damage with this push.
Yeah, well, at the very least, it's a good move from him that he moved out here, because it's going to allow him to just constantly fight back the Lurkers, shoot at them a little bit, wait, when they go to burrow, run away, etc., rinse and repeat, and taking it much longer.
You have to be careful, though, when your opponent has this many speedlings, you can get trapped in and you can lose. Like, a player like Hwasin, I would think, would play a lot safer than that.
Well, that sucks, losing that many speedlings. Hwasin being really smart and putting up a bunker here, but it might not be enough. I mean, this is just so many Zerglings, and these Lurkers are coming out, and they're going to get there before the army does. So, I mean, it depends what Hwasin does with his control here. Oh, no, he's going to get...
Fire bats!
Oh, wow, he put fire bats in the bunker. What a great move by Hwasin. Oh, my God. That was brilliant. That just totally wrecked him. Wow, I did not expect that. I don't think Luxury expected that either. What a great
still 3 Lurkers, though.
Yeah, he's still
and Hwasin's got to be careful with his scans.
That was a great move. Yeah, he's got to use his scans the best way possible. I think he just wants to...
He should really just back up. He should not even try and engage this. Luxury has done so much. He's invested so many in all those Zerglings that he killed, but Hwasin's going to go for the break.
He's going to take it up
with a stim. Nice, but the fire bats take so much damage from the Lurkers, and... Wow, this is going to be so close. Oh, wow, Luxury has 2 more Lurkers. Hwasin doesn't have any forces remaining. Hwasin, you need to back up. Stop trying to take that expansion. That was terrible. Hwasin really needs to back up here, and just so many... Hwasin, what are you doing? Stop pushing out. You need to get in your base. Luxury has like 10 drones. Just back up. Stop trying to take your natural.
Oh man, Hwasin's just relying on his super control to get...
No, if he gets the ramp, it's going to be over. Wow, Hwasin doesn't have a bunker.
He let him get the ramp. Oh, this is just awful.
Oh, wow.
I mean, having Lurkers on a ramp is basically unbeatable. I mean, like, you just can't do anything about that with Marines. Oh, he's getting by the bunkers. This is game over. I mean, there's nothing that Hwasin can do. I can't believe how well this worked out, especially, like... I mean, the fire bats in the bunker was such a great move, and then he just failed after that. He should have just backed up and not gone for that attack. That really just was horrible for him. I mean, he definitely, like you said, if he had just sat in his base, he would have been perfectly fine. And this sucks. I mean, it sucks for Hwasin, but, I mean, well played by Luxury. I mean, really good control, a nice aggressive move, and this is exactly what Luxury should be doing. Like, this is his strength. This is what he needs to be doing every game. And I'm glad to see he realized that. Okay, GG. Too bad for Hwasin, but, I mean, what can you say? You know, he did it to himself. Well done to Luxury.
Yeah, it just seems like Hwasin, he plays so good, his control is good, and then he makes, like, one major blunder when, to quote Tasteless, one major blunder when his opponent's tech comes out, realizes it's an error and corrects it, but you saw in the first, or the second game, the Mutalisk game, where he just lost so many SCVs to those Mutalisks, but he just got his shit back together and corrected it. But this early on, when Luxury did that early lurkers, you know, he made a good decision with the fire bets, but then he pushed out when he just should have waited for more forces. He tried to engage way too many lurkers early game, when in reality, Luxury, there was no way that Luxury could have handled if Hwasin just pulled all of his SCVs back and just sat on one base until he got a few tanks out. And that was just a really poor decision from Hwasin, and it really sucks to see Hwasin, who kind of makes, for the most part, plays well, and that girl is sad, but he plays well, and he makes, you know, minor decisions, play against such an unforgiving player like Luxury. And look at him. I mean, really he's hurt. That sucks. Yeah, but sucks. I mean, Luxury, just like you said, though, and that's one thing that you always see, like, there's almost no exceptions to that besides Lita, I guess. But in every time, in a best of whatever series, in the final game, players always revert back to their strengths and what they're strong to.